The BILT Palladium is the newest premium credit card to hit the market, and it has already divided opinions, with some saying it's the perfect catch-all spending card, while others are saying it's just not worth it. Now, after looking through the reward structure, the available credits, and the $495 annual fee, the truth is this card is worth it for some people. So in this video, we'll break down exactly how this card works, and I'll give you some spending scenarios so you can compare it to other similar cards. So by the end, you should have a good idea of whether or not the Palladium is a good option for you, or if you're better off going with something else. And if you do enjoy the video, if you could do me a massive favor and leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We've just launched and we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. Thanks again, and let's get into it. So when it comes to the reward structure with the BILT Palladium card, and really any of the new BILT cards, the most important thing for you to know is that this is one of the only cards on the entire market where you can earn points on your rent or mortgage. Now, the amount of points that you're eligible to earn from your rent is going to be proportional to your total spend on the card, and we'll get into that in just a second. But outside of your rent, you're going to earn 2 times points on all everyday spend. Now, when it comes to how you earn points on your rent or mortgage, BILT has given you 2 options to choose from. First, there's a housing only option, and second, there's a housing plus BILT cash option. First up, looking at the housing only option, this is going to be a lot more simple compared to the BILT cash version in my opinion, but it's essentially a tiered structure with 4 different levels. The first level being if you hit 25% of your monthly rent on other purchases. So in this example, it's using a $2,000 rent. So in this case, it would be $500. That would unlock 0.5 points per dollar spent on your rent. And then of course, moving down, if you hit 50% of your monthly rent, so in this case $1,000, you would unlock 3/4 of a point on your rent, and then 75% of your monthly rent would unlock the full 1 point per dollar on your rent. So in this case, it would give you the full 2,000 points on your rent. And then for higher spenders who end up spending either the same or more of their rent on other purchases every month, you're going to get 1.25 points on your rent. Just keep in mind that these are rigid tier structures. So say if you have a $2,000 rent and you only spend $950 on other purchases in any given month, you're actually going to fall back onto that 0.5 point tier. Now, that's not the end of the world. Just keep in mind these tiers are something you may want to slightly monitor if you choose this option. Now, for option number 2, we have housing plus BILT cash. Now, bear with me because when BILT cash was first announced, I did find it pretty confusing, as did many other BILT users, but after a few days, I think I've pretty much gotten the hang of it. And here I've tried to simplify it as much as I can because, to be honest, this is the easiest way for me to understand it. And how BILT cash works is that you earn it completely separate from the 2x that you get on standard BILT points. Keep in mind, BILT cash and BILT points are completely separate, and your BILT cash you earn at a rate of 4% on all purchases across the board. Now, every single month, you can use the BILT cash that you've earned to unlock points from your rent. And $30 of BILT cash is able to unlock 1,000 points on your rent. And to quickly relate this to our $2,000 rent example, bear with me here. If you spend $1,500 on other purchases throughout the month and earn 4% BILT cash, that's going to yield you $60 worth of BILT cash, which can then unlock you the full 2,000 rent points. So as you can see there, if you spend exactly 75% with the tiered option or exactly 75% with the BILT cash option, you're actually going to be getting pretty much the same rewards. But one really important difference when it comes to the BILT cash option is that you have no tiers and a more flexible redemption structure. In other words, you don't have to wait until you have $30 or $60 of BILT cash to unlock points on your rent. Even if you only have 4 or 5 BILT cash, you can use that to proportionally unlock however many rent points that would earn. Think of it more like a sliding scale rather than rigid tiers. And then of course, another benefit of BILT cash is that not only can you use it to redeem points on housing, but you can also use it to redeem rewards with BILT partners. Now, BILT is still rolling out all the ways you can redeem your BILT cash outside of housing points, but right now, some of the highlights that I've seen include redeeming with Lyft, GoPuff, Grubhub, as well as select BILT dining partners. And to be honest, at least for me, the BILT cash redemptions I've seen so far just feel like coupons. And a lot of the redemption options I've seen so far are also capped every single month, so you can't necessarily rack up a ton of BILT cash and use it to pay for a $100 dinner. The rewards may be capped at $20 for the certain restaurant you go to. I think the most useful redemption I've seen so far for BILT cash is probably with Lyft, but outside of that, I would pretty much only be using BILT cash to redeem my housing points if I went with this option. So So do with all of that information what you will, but those are the two different options BILT allows you to choose from to earn rewards. Now moving on, let's talk about the credits that the Palladium offers to help offset that $495 annual fee. Because keep in mind, any luxury credit card, which the Palladium is, needs to have valuable credits in order to make them worthwhile. And to start things off with the Palladium, you get a $400 annual hotel credit. Now this is applied as two $200 credits every 6 months, and it only applies to stays that are a minimum of 2 nights and booked through the BILT travel portal. Now second, you are going to get an annual $200 BILT cash credit deposited into your account. And keep in mind, you are allowed to roll over a maximum of $100 in BILT cash to the next year. And at least at the time of filming this video, BILT is offering a sign-up bonus on the Palladium for 50,000 BILT points, as well as $300 of BILT cash upon approval. And keep in mind, the Palladium is a luxury travel card, so not only are you going to have no foreign transaction fees, but you're also going to have priority pass lounge access. And for those who really care about that, the Palladium is the only one of the new BILT cards that's going to have that lounge access. And with the Palladium, you're going to get MasterCard World Legend benefits, which includes things like baggage insurance, purchase protections, and extended warranties. Now with that out of the way, let's take a look at how your monthly rewards could actually look if you went with the Palladium. Now for these examples, we're going to be assuming a slightly higher than average spend, since this is a luxury card and you're going to be putting all of your money on it. Obviously, you can adjust the numbers as necessary on your end, but I've assumed a rent or mortgage payment of $3,000, and then roughly 75% of that is going to be spent on other purchases. In this case, that's $2,300, bringing your total monthly expenditure to about $5,300. Now, since with the Palladium in this example, we're hitting our 75% threshold, we're going to get 1 point per dollar on our rent, and then we're going to get 2 times points across the board, bringing our total monthly rewards to 7,600 BILT points. If we take a step back and look annually, that's going to be just over 91,000 BILT points accrued across the year. And keep in mind, this is completely separate from your sign-up bonus, as well as the annual hotel credit and the annual BILT cash credit. So as you can see, if you have a moderate to slightly higher housing payment, if you use the Palladium as your everyday spending card as well, it can quickly rack up your points. Now let's take a look at another premium everyday spend card with the Amex Gold. Now keep in mind, the Amex Gold has a lower annual fee coming in at $325, and in this example, we're going to be using the exact same spend in the exact same categories. And despite the fact that the Amex isn't going to get you any points on your rent or mortgage, I think it holds up surprisingly well in this example, just because it has such strong multipliers on both groceries and dining. Not to mention, with the Amex, you're also going to get 3x on travel. Using the Amex here, your monthly rewards are going to be 6,500 points, bringing your total annual rewards to 78,000 points. And also important to note, the Amex Gold is going to have a much higher sign-up bonus than the Palladium, and they're currently offering 100,000 points. You also get around $500 worth of different credits that you can redeem with the Amex Gold. In my opinion, a lot of the Amex credit redemptions are kind of similar to the BILT cash redemptions. They just aren't really places that I tend to shop at much, so they're not really worth it for me. But the rewards you're able to rack up on both groceries and dining with that 4x multiplier are just unmatched. And finally, let's take a look at our last premium comparison with the Capital One Venture X. Now the Venture X has a more affordable annual fee than the Palladium, coming in at $395 per year, but I think this is a great comparison because the Venture X also happens to be a 2 times catch-all card. Now when you look at the same monthly spending scenario, obviously the rewards with the Venture X do kind of pale in comparison compared to the Palladium, because you're not going to be getting those rewards on rent. So your total monthly points with the Venture X would come to 4,600, with your total annual points coming to 55,000. But with the Venture X, both the welcome bonus and the annual credits are going to be better than what you get with the Palladium. Throughout the year, you can get at least 75,000 miles as a welcome bonus, and then in addition to that, every single year with the Venture X, you are going to get a $300 annual travel credit for any booking with the Capital One travel portal, and you also get 10,000 anniversary miles every single year. So this is going to be equivalent to at least $400 worth of travel expenses every single year that you can redeem towards flights, hotels, rental cars, and more. So if you look at these 3 cards just in terms of point accumulation, with these spending scenarios, the best option is going to be the Palladium, followed by the Amex Gold, followed by the Venture X. However, there are other things to consider with these cards besides just how many points you can get. Now with the Palladium, it does have several really strong areas. It is obviously the only one of these cards that allows you to earn points on your housing, and I do think it has the best airline transfer partners, both domestic and internationally, compared to the alternatives. However, the Palladium is a card that leans heavily on BILT cash, which in my opinion is not very powerful and has limited redemption options. There's also no multipliers for booking travel through the portal, portal, and you don't get a price match. And despite the really good hotel credit, you don't get anything in terms of flight credits. With the Amex Gold, there are still a ton of things to like about this card. It is far and away the best card if most of your spending is going to be food, whether that be groceries or dining. It has the best sign-up bonus as of today, and it has the lowest annual fee of these three cards. But if lounge access is a deal breaker for you, the Amex Gold isn't going to have it. The only way to get lounge access is going to be moving up to the Platinum, which is a much more expensive card. And in addition to that, you're also not going to have a price match on the travel portal with American Express. And then when it comes to the Venture X, despite the points accumulation not being quite as fast as the other two cards, you do get the most flexible annual travel credit every year. It's also the only one of these cards that's going to give you a price match when you book any travel through their portal, which in my opinion is a huge deal. And another great hack is that you can easily combine the Venture X with the no annual fee Capital One Saver card, which is going to give you 3 times points on both dining and groceries. Not to mention you also get 5 times points on flights when you book directly through the Capital One portal, which can help you rack up those points a lot faster. I wanted to quickly go over those points just to highlight that the total annual rewards doesn't always tell the whole story. So by now you should have pretty much all of the pros of the BILT Palladium card. You know that it's going to be the only option that's going to give you the ability to unlock rewards on your housing. You get a straightforward 2 times rewards on all of your non-housing spend. You also get very powerful rewards points that can be transferred to a number of domestic and international airlines. And of course, you get that coveted lounge access and a really nice hotel credit on top of that. And then as I already mentioned, I think the BILT cash redemption options, at least at the moment, are a little bit underwhelming, and that is a pretty big part of this card. And then also another important point I've yet to highlight is that if you don't have a high housing spend, or if you just don't have a lot of monthly spend in general, this is probably not going to be the best card for you. And essentially, if you don't have a high enough monthly spend, it's going to be really hard to justify that $495 annual fee. Now, if you're interested in a great catch-all spending card that also earns points on rent, but you don't want to shell out that $495 fee, then you might want to check out the little brother of the Palladium card, which is the BILT Obsidian card. Now, I actually think that the Obsidian card is the most underrated of the 3 new BILT cards because it's only going to carry a $95 annual fee. It's going to have the same reward structure on housing as the Palladium, and then as far as points accumulation, you're going to get 3 times points on either dining or groceries, 2x points on travel, and then 1 times points on everything else. And just to show you what our spending scenario would net you if you use the Obsidian card, the multipliers are pretty solid, and you're going to get those housing points if you spend 75%, so you're going to get 6,800 points every month and over 81,000 points annually. So if you think you'll get a lot of value out of the larger hotel credit and the annual BILT cash credit you get with the Palladium, then it may be a better option. But if you don't think you'll get a ton of value or be able to maximize the value out of those things, then the Obsidian might be the better option. So what are my final thoughts on the BILT Palladium? Well, the reward structure of this card is undeniably powerful. If you use this as a catch-all spending card, it has the potential to unlock a ton of points from your housing payments throughout the year, making this a really solid set and forget option. However, considering this card has a $495 annual fee, I think both the welcome bonus and the annual credits are just okay. I think if those 2 things were improved, we'd be looking at a card that had a really solid edge over the competition. And guys, that is going to do it for this video. This card has been pretty controversial, so please let me know in the comments below what you think of it. I would really love to hear. Thank you guys again for watching. Leave a like if you've enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.